Hey everyone, what does it mean to you to be successful financially, emotionally, and in how we age? I recently sat down with the incredible Patti Lovett Reid to chat about success, financial well-being, and navigating the journey of healthy aging. Our conversation touched on so many important topics: money, mindset, and making the most of every stage of life. No matter where you are in your journey, there's something in this episode for you. So stay tuned. You don't want to miss this conversation. Hello, Patty, and thank you once again for being with me today just to talk about, you know, um, aging and healthy aging. And I know that you post a lot of
Oh,
information in so many different areas with regards to aging. So, welcome.
thank you. I'm delighted to be here.
I wanted to talk today a little bit about how to embrace this balanced, fulfilling life. And
Mm.
I think that, as we get older, we're sort of redefining that success and that well-being. We're not doing what our parents maybe did or our mothers did. So, how has success, this definition of success, how has it evolved over time for you personally?
Well, that's a great question. When it comes to success, what I have learned is that we all define success very differently
Mhm.
or define wealth. And I'll clarify that. For some, it was climbing the corporate ladder, entrepreneurship, starting your own business. When you look at the educational levels of many, it's soaring, but particularly for women.
Mhm.
I will tell you that others will define wealth by having connectivity to family, friends, giving back to their community.
Right.
Some will say a healthy body and a healthy mind.
Mhm.
And others will define success and wealth by their balance sheet. So it's very different depending on who you are. I do believe, like you, that as we mature in life, we start to evolve in terms of our thinking of what really brings us joy.
Mhm.
It's very different than what makes us happy, because
Right.
I can be
Yeah.
happy over something, but what brings me inner peace and joy, it almost always comes down to connectivity. It
Mhm.
rarely comes down to looking at our bank account.
Right. Yeah, I agree. And that connectivity is so important as we age,
Mhm.
not only for our mental health, but also, in terms of making those connections and feeling almost valued. I
Yes.
know, it's
Having a voice.
having a voice. Exactly.
Do
Yeah.
you think having a voice, being heard, feeling valued,
Mhm.
there is a tremendous amount going on right now. It wasn't that long ago we were dealing with COVID,
Yes.
and isolation led to uh, a health crisis that for many households also then led into a financial crisis.
Hmm.
But there are feelings right now of uncertainty, anxiety, and that leads to mental health issues. Then you can see people as we age, we become more insulated,
Hmm.
and that, of course, has an impact on our mental health. And your ability to go out and work, if you're dealing with challenges of anxiety, whatever brings it on, um, that becomes a financial crisis yet again. And so health and wealth, very much intertwined. They really are connected.
Yeah, yeah. And I think for me personally, anyways, that definition of success has evolved as I'm evolving in the different stages of my life. And so, what are some of the daily practices that can help people prioritize their version of success? And I know that might be a
Mm,
question because everybody has a different definition,
yeah.
but
I do think that prioritizing your health and taking time for you. I think on Instagram, where you follow me, you've pointed out on more than one occasion, because I've missed, because I'm horrible at it, the importance of taking that quiet moment, whether it's meditation, it's
Mhm.
reflection. And I'm nowhere near where you're at. And it's not that I go, 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 and it's a badge of honor. I just think sometimes I'm charging ahead, doing what
Mhm.
I feel I need to do, getting done what I need to get done. And I do think it's important to say, I got to step back a bit. I need to slow down. So
Right.
slowing down, I do think exercise for me is as much for my mental well-being as my physical well-being.
Mhm.
I go for walks, not for the steps to count the steps,
Right.
although if I'm honest with you, I do.
Yeah.
But it's my time. It's my time. And sometimes I'm prepping for a presentation in my mind.
Mhm.
Sometimes I'm listening to a podcast. Sometimes I'm listening to music and just skipping along at my own beat. So I do think trying to what I've incorporated is
Mhm.
taking a moment, some exercise. I am a fanatic on at least 7 hours sleep a night.
Yeah.
Does it always happen for me? No, but it does more often than not.
Mhm.
And having a healthy diet so that I am nourishing this body that I hope is going to withstand the test of time, so to
Yeah.
speak.
Yeah. So it's funny because you said you walk, but walking and listening to music is sort of meditating. So
I'm going to take that. I'll take that as a win
so
then.
you can say
But
that you meditate now, right?
it is so funny because I've spoken to many people who are far more expert, have expertise in this area than I do. And I say I sit down and I think, okay, I'm going to reflect on a sunrise and I'm just gonna watch it.
Mhm.
And then I'm thinking about a grocery list. Not that I even do the grocery shopping in this household. I do not,
Yeah.
but I want to make sure I add to the list so that my
Right.
husband gets it. Or, and
Yeah.
and I wander and they go, that's okay, Patty. Just bring it back. Bring
That's
it
right.
back. You'll
Yeah.
get there.
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly.
Yeah.
It's like when you're thinking of a presentation, I'm sure your mind wanders as well, and then you bring it
It
back to your
can. It
presentation,
can.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
No, it can.
yeah, so it's always bringing it back and it's always being mindful that, you have this quiet time. Even if you're listening to music, that to me is meditative in itself, It's your time that you have to spend alone. Yeah. And I guess this is a good kind of a good segue, but how do you create the boundaries? Because I'm sure that you're being pulled in so many directions.
Yeah, that's a one, I recently did The Social and I was speaking to the executive producer there.
Mhm.
And I was saying, I've got a few things and they're back to back to back. And she said, do you say no? And I said, rarely. And she said, why don't you say no? And I said, because I genuinely want to do it. I genuinely want to meet new
Mhm.
people and I genuinely enjoy it. But then I thought about it, and my husband laughed. And as I was recounting the story to him, he goes, well, you say no to me all the time, and not how you think. But I will say, he'll say, let's go and do this today.
Yeah.
And I said, great. I just need an hour and a half. I'm going to the gym for an hour. I
Mhm.
need a half hour to clean up, and I'll be ready to go. And
Right.
so I do set boundaries. I don't even think of them as boundaries. I think
Right.
of them as like prerequisites in my day.
Yes.
So yes, I am going to do whatever's scheduled for that workout that day, or
Hmm.
that meal prep is going to happen. Um, in terms of, let's see, actual boundary, the only boundary I really put in place,
Hmm.
I I am so fortunate to have such a nice community of followers on Instagram,
Hmm.
but I will not allow myself more than an hour a day
Yeah.
on social media. And I will, and that includes posting. And
Mhm.
I say I'm going to post a moment in my day. It's legit. It's
Right.
a moment
Yeah.
and then I'm on. Sometimes the picture's good. Sometimes I look at it and go, it's not so good, but I'm not looking for perfection. I'm
Yeah.
just looking,
Yeah.
which I know some people do. And if you
That's
look
yeah.
at my page and it's all over the place, there's no perfection there. It's what's going through my mind. Here's the moment I'm going to share with you because I think it could add some value. I try to get back to people because I think it's respectful in
Hmm.
that if someone has shared in personal information
Hmm.
on direct messages to me, I take that very personally. I think that
Yeah.
is an amazing thing that they've trusted me with. And I want to respond to that. I don't
Hmm.
always see everything, But then they'll get to a point where, you know what, sometimes there's nitpicky things. And I just simply say, you shouldn't be following me
Yeah.
because I
And
don't look at it that closely, and I'm not sure why you are.
yeah, I love the boundary that you have set in terms of, you know, the hour a day. And if you want to just pop on, you pop on. But that's
Yeah, and then I'll pop back off. Yeah.
yeah, that's really important because I mean you can get burnt out just by taking care of your account, right? And
Yeah.
yeah. And I
Yeah.
know that you had I think it was last year where you said that you were going to say yes to, I guess,
Yes.
the opportunities that came about,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
Yes, thank you for that. I do. I coined, obviously I didn't coin the term. This is my year of yes.
Yeah.
That has been done, but I did adapt it or adopt it, maybe I should
Mhm.
say, and adapt it to my life. I said yes to new challenges, new
Yeah.
experiences, and new opportunities. And you know, it's interesting. As they say, one door closes, another one opens. I'd say six open.
Hmm.
Sometimes you have to close doors to free yourself up.
Yes. Yeah.
And sometimes you need to say yes to opportunities when you're thinking, what's really in this for me? Well, maybe there isn't, but maybe there's
Exactly.
something in it for someone else.
Right.
I think that by trying new things, you put yourself out there.
Hmm.
Just prior to coming on here, I was taping all day on different on a little mini series that I've been working on,
Uh-huh.
and got in the door and the markets tanked. So the markets have extreme volatility. And
Hmm.
so I was like, please, can you come on CTV? And I said, sure, I can do it.
Yeah.
Then I thought, wait a minute, I haven't been following the markets. So I quickly looked at the markets and
Yeah.
went, well, now I know why they want me on TV today. But the point is, sometimes, you know, we second guess ourselves,
Yeah.
we hold ourselves back, we step on our own coattails and not
Hmm.
take the opportunities to move forward. And I wanted this year to be different. And I think so far it is. It has
Hmm.
unfolded differently.
That's great. Yeah. And I love it because sometimes, yeah, I'll feel uncomfortable doing something. And that's when I know that I should be doing it.
Yeah,
When I
yeah,
don't want to really do it because it's out of my comfort level, or I feel that I'm not qualified enough, or I'm not, you know, I don't have
yeah.
the right tools. But really, you know, we have the tools that we need. And, you know, if we try something and it fails, so what? You know,
So
we'll
be
just go
it.
on to the next thing. Yeah, yeah. So, you know, aging is full of transitions, and I know that you talk
Mhm.
about that a lot, and you're affiliated with the chip reverse mortgage. Not, they're not.
Yes, I am. Yep.
What's a company called? Because it's not called Chip
Yeah,
Reverse
it is. No, it's Home Equity Bank,
Home
but
Equity
they're
Bank,
the home of the chip reverse mortgage.
right?
That's an interesting thing, Rosanna, because I received some pushback, to be honest,
I
when I
read on
joined.
your yes.
Yeah, and you know, and that's okay
Hmm.
because this was a product that when I was at TD
Hmm.
and I was a senior vice president, I said, I don't like this product. And then and then they met with me independent of everything.
Right.
And I was actually the chief financial commentator for CTV. They
Hmm.
said, we're not asking you to report on it. Can we just show you the numbers and
Right.
explain it to you?
Yeah.
And there were things that I was missing. I did not fully understand the whole product. It's
Hmm.
not a product for everyone, but I do think there are many Canadians who don't have money. And guess what? They have a home and they have
Hmm.
emergency funds in that home that they can unlock. And if
Yeah.
that means they get a better life today, then I encourage people to do it. So I have no regrets. I now
Hmm.
understand the product, not the right product for everyone,
And it's
but it
not.
could
Yeah.
be for
Yeah.
some.
Yeah. And I think a lot of the things too are, you know, the people who might say, oh no, that's I would never do that. It's exactly that, that they don't know what it can do, how it can relieve people. You know, I mean,
Mhm.
there's nothing worse than having, let's say, a line of credit and not being able to make the payments, but you have a fully paid home, right? And
Right,
so something as
right.
simple as, yeah, getting rid of that.
You know, there's different ends of the spectrum. On the other end of the spectrum, I work with a company and they're licensed insolvency trustees.
Hmm.
And these are people that have taken on tremendous debt. They
Hmm.
don't have enough income to service
Right.
it. And you think it's because they've overspent and they're trying to keep up with the Joneses. It isn't always the case.
No,
It
no.
could be a divorce, it could be an illness, it
Hmm.
could be caretaking a family member. And people, regardless of whether they're in debt, taking money out of their home, or
Hmm.
dealing with the financial anxiety of the markets, people want hope. They
Yeah.
want opportunity. They want options. And so, to the extent that I can share that, that's if I had to define my purpose, what
Hmm.
I feel is my calling to try to help people to do is to explore all the options.
Yeah. And because there are options there, but a lot of people may not know that there are, right? And
Mhm.
so that's what I like about your Instagram account is that you cover so many things. You really educate, not only on health and wellness, but also on practical things, on
Oh, thank you.
financial well-being, because that's what it's all about, right?
Oh, wait a minute. I thought you were going to make reference to my makeup application.
Oh,
Just kidding. But then people have still said I did say I would do that, so eventually I'll do it.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
great. It's all good because
it's social.
it is social, yeah,
Yeah.
and I would love to, see a makeup tutorial as well from you because I'm terrible at putting my makeup on.
No, no. But I do think there is something to be said to about staying in a wheelhouse where you have some expertise or some knowledge.
Mhm.
And expertise can just simply be involved in an industry for decades. And I
Yeah,
have.
yeah.
And I have been speaking to Canadians for literally decades.
Mhm.
Wow, when I put it that way, yeah, great. But you know what I mean.
I know what you mean. Yeah, yeah. And it's great though that you can do that. Yeah. Because a lot of people do struggle with financial well-being,
Mhm.
especially after, they retire. Because I mean, I think, I don't know about you, but every Dick, I would think of retirement way back in my 30s. I can't wait till I retire. I can't wait till I retire. And then I did retire, and
Yeah.
it's like, okay, now what? You know?
Yeah, I don't know if I'll ever fully retire, but it may not be my choice, which is why I think everyone needs a plan B.
Yes.
I am very fortunate that I continue to work and I
Mhm.
enjoy working. Um, I left CTV and retired. I
Yes.
left TD and retired, so I
Yeah.
have two pensions. But I wasn't done. I'm just
Yeah.
not done yet.
Yeah.
And I guess I'll know it or I'll feel it one day.
Hmm.
But for now, it's sort of the first time in my life I've been an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And people say it's not really being an entrepreneur when you're doing your own business like this. Well, I would disagree
Hmm.
because I have to hustle the next client.
That's
I
right.
have to deliver
Yeah.
just like anyone else. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, I would say as a sole proprietor and an entrepreneur, it is the first time I can actually call myself a CEO. So I
Yeah.
am.
Yeah. I'm not ready yet either to just retire 100%. And I think a lot of
Right.
people aren't, when they get to that stage.
Hmm.
They feel like they still want to be connected. And it's all of that. It's all about that connectivity as well. And just keeping busy, but in a way that where you're helping people. Because right now, your entrepreneurial business is helping so many people. That's really rewarding, I think, as opposed
It's
to.
not, yeah, it is interesting because I've done a lot of research on retirement. I've written a lot about it.
Mhm.
People will often say about a year to a year and a half in, they either love it or
Mhm.
they don't. And it's rarely the money they miss. They
Yeah.
miss the socialization,
Yes.
the
Yes.
structure, the orientation to their day.
Hmm.
They don't want life to become one long golf game, but they also don't want to spend every waking moment with their family members. And it doesn't mean they don't love them and want to be with them.
Yeah.
And then there's this restructuring. It's a difficult mindset when you have spent your whole life accumulating wealth
Hmm.
and now you're in wealth preservation mode. to see you through retirement. And there was an interesting survey of millennials not long ago,
Mhm.
and they're fearful of retirement because they say, given everything that we've been dealing with, we're not saving for retirement. And the
Right.
biggest regret that many have had who are older, I should have saved more. And
Mhm.
it's difficult with the way costs are, housing costs, food costs, electricity costs. A lot of families, a lot of individuals don't have wiggle room to
Mhm.
save for retirement. And yet, retirement in some form is going to happen. You are
Yes.
going to hit those so-called golden years.
That's right. Yeah. Well, so you've given us so many nuggets of information, Patty, and so many
Thank
tips
you.
on how we can live that balanced life. And if you had to choose your top three, what would they be?
I think if someone had told me um, ch to chill out at a younger age, I probably wouldn't have listened, but it probably would have really been beneficial.
Yeah.
That sometimes hard work doesn't always pay off.
Hmm.
And um, I think you have to learn at an early age to advocate for yourself, be
Hmm.
your best and biggest cheerleader. And I think don't be afraid. And I made this reference back on Women's Day, where I said, be bold, be brave, be brilliant, and be you.
Hmm.
And to the extent that you are your authentic self,
Yes.
people can criticize me, and I have to say, yeah, you're right, because that's who I am.
Hmm.
Um, so if that's who you are, embrace it. Don't hide from it. And I think there were times where I would have this optimistic, outgoing personality, and I would think I'm going to enter this room and be quiet and demure and
Hmm.
be a little mysterious and see what people think. I'd
Yeah.
be in the room 2 minutes and I'd be laughing and joking and talking to this person and moving on to that person. And I would actually laugh at myself on the way home and go, oh, that went really well. How did that go for you? But I think being your authentic self
Yeah.
is the best version of you, and it always will be.
Hmm. Excellent. Excellent. So I want to thank you again so much for joining me
Thank
today,
you.
and to the viewers for watching. Thank you. And be sure to follow Patty if you don't already. And I'll have your link down below. And to the audience, please remember to share, like, and subscribe to this channel for more information on how to live a balanced emotional, physical, and cognitive life. Bye for now. Thanks so much, Patty.
Thank you. Thank you.